Hey there to all you rebellious souls out there. It is great to have you here. I'm truly excited to inspire you again today, and I hope that this podcast episode will ignite a new fire within you. So enjoy, and you know what? Feel free to reach out if I can support you in any way. Have a good one. Hello again. So it's been a while actually since I last recorded a podcast. And by not showing up here, I basically violated one of the key rules of personal branding, which is, well, in all irony, my specialty. So I flunked. But this wouldn't be the Raw, Real, and Rebellious podcast if I wouldn't own and acknowledge where I'm failing beautifully. So let's look at consistency. If it's one of the key elements of personal branding and of building a business, why is that so hard? Why did I fail? Why are a lot of people failing when it comes to commitment and consistency? Just a little bit of background. I don't know if you've heard of Robert Cialdini. For those who are familiar with his work, he's written a book, Persuasion, about the 6 basic principles of what is required to persuade other people or to, help them to engage in some kind of behavioral change. And this has a lot to do with personal branding and personal leadership. Generally, what we do with the purpose of helping people. And if we want to help people, then we got to create some level of change, either because we're helping them from point A to point B, or because we want to change their perspective on working with us. I mean, let's be honest. People who don't know who you are yet will not have the faith or the trust in your services yet. And if you want to if you're going to ask money for your services, then it's key that people feel safe with you. So to build that trust so that people will feel safe and certain and in the right hands, you need to build that trust and you need to create that level of safety. And one of the basic principles to do that, and that is what Cialdini talks about in his book, is to be committed and consistent. Now, both of these principles are linked. So it's commitment and consistency. That is one principle. But it's not always easy, is it? It's not always easy to keep showing up and to be committed to your business, to your success, to your marketing, to your clients, to whatever it is that you're committed to. Because there are so many distractions. And sometimes we just don't feel it, even though we know that it's important to actually show up. And especially when it comes to, creating a name, which is what personal branding is all about. We want to make sure that people know who we are so that they feel attracted to us, so that they can actually, say yes. So it's all about visibility and getting our message out there. But that doesn't work when we just show up once. One social media post or one email or one action is not going to do it. We need to create consistency here. We need to commit to our business and our success and helping and serving people with our gifts. We need to commit to that on the long term. And yet, this is so difficult sometimes. Now, I've noticed it myself, which is one of the reasons why, it was because other things got priority over podcasting. So I wasn't fully committed to it. And I'm noticing it in different areas too. So I've been looking at this subject of consistency, and I discovered that, there are some shadow sides to it. And there's also very good sides to consistency. So it's not just a bad thing. But I felt a lot of resistance around that word. So I'd like to look at consistency on 3 different levels today, especially because these 3 levels are particularly connected to our personal branding. So first of all, we're going to look at frequency and, having this regularity in our schedule, in when we show up. So this has to do with your, a certain time frame, for example, so that people know that, every week at a specific time, you will do this or do that. Then there is a level of consistency in how you express yourself. That's the second one we will be looking at. And then third, we will talk about your messaging specifically. And we'll look at the upside and the downside of all, these 3 ways in which we can be consistent or not be consistent. Anyway, and I will speak about this from my own perspective. And how I've been challenged here. So I'm just hoping that maybe you'll recognize some of it. And, perhaps like I did, I reframed my beliefs around it. I reframed the meaning of consistency for myself so that it works for me. Now, I'm not saying that my way will work for you. That is, up to you to find out. But at least I hope it will inspire you somewhat. So, first of all, what I noticed within myself when it comes to frequency, so I noticed that scheduling my Mondays for my marketing, it worked for a little while. And then at some point, I realized that it doesn't put me in a creative state necessarily. I dedicated all my Mondays to marketing and creating content because someone else was relying on me to hand over that content so that she could actually put it, schedule it online and do her magic with it. The problem was that every time I felt like I had to. So that it felt like I was pushing through even though I wasn't really inspired. So that got me thinking, when consistency, the need to be consistent, because that's what we know that we need to be consistent. It's a principle. It's something that we learn. It's a quality that it's an amazing quality, actually. But when it becomes a must, it can sometimes lead to even more stress than is necessary. And it can create a level of contraction in ourselves. It can, increase our levels of cortisol because we're not doing that from a place of love and a heart and our hearts, but we're doing it because we have to do something, because we scheduled it, because we committed to every Monday we do a live on Instagram, for example, or every Thursday we do a club or a room, on Clubhouse. That kind of consistency can become stressful if we don't really feel, if we're not really serving from the heart. And especially when we do something new, when we're developing a new habit. So for example, you're starting a new business, or that you need to do your marketing, but it's not your area, it's not your industry. Then to do this, you can feel a lot of resistance, you can feel a lot of resistance to showing up every time again, to doing another post, to write another email for your subscribers. And I get it. I get that sometimes, to develop that new habit, to develop that within yourselves, well, actually you just want to serve. You want to be that coach, or you want to be just an expert in whatever it is that you do. But you don't want the hassle of the marketing. I fully understand. I understand your resistance. But when your resistance leads to you procrastinating and you're not doing the work, then it also leads to you not being successful. So there's a difference here, and I hope that you can still follow me. But when it comes to frequency and committing to something and being consistent in terms of, how we schedule what we have to do, It's important to know the difference between, you just being resistant or really feeling that you're too stressed because it's like a pushy thing. You're pushing through. Because when you're pushing through, that's not going to help. When you're pushing through something because you feel like you have to do something, then everything that you do doesn't come from the heart. It doesn't come from a place of love, and it doesn't come from the best energy that you have within yourself, And people are going to notice that because they're going to feel that you're stressed, that you're not really present. They're going to see that you're a little bit agitated or that you're not fully in it. People can feel when you're actually fully in it and when your love and your heart is all behind it. So if you're feeling that you're in that mode, in that state of being where you're pushing through because you've committed to something, then I would say take a little bit of a break. Take a break and make sure that you revive yourself and that you let go of, that idea that, but I committed to this, and I have to do this because I said that I would, and I said that I would do a weekly live or whatever. Let go of that. Let go of all the have tos and just trust that you will receive that moment of inspired action, that it will come. Because then when you take inspired action instead of forced action because you scheduled it, in name of consistency, when you take inspired action, everything that you do will become so much more aligned and so much more inspiring for the people that you want to serve. However, when you feel that, you're just resisting what I just talked about, when you're only resisting that new thing that you want to develop within yourself, then I would say definitely create a level of commitment to, for example, showing up every day, doing a post every day, doing your emails every week, doing your whatever it is that you're doing for your marketing, doing that on a very scheduled time frame, like really schedule it. Have this regularity so that you can create a new habit, and that takes at least 30 days. So it will work for you. Consistency and frequency will work for you when it's new and when your audience doesn't know you yet, for example, and you want to build trust. So it's really important to keep showing up consistently that way. I did that years ago. I really made sure that I showed up consistently on my socials, in my funnels, in my, in everything, my whole marketing, in my business. In everything that I did, I really told myself, I gotta commit to this. And that created a habit within myself so that now I'm at a place where, if I want to deviate from my schedule, that's fine. So that I can actually take that inspired action. Because I do believe that, when we schedule something, and even though we might feel some resistance in the moment, we can still put ourselves in the right state. So that even though it's like a must do every Monday or every Friday or whatever it is that you're scheduling, you can actually change your inner state and show up for people in the best way, even though you might feel some resistance around it. This is about inspiring yourself so that you can inspire others and create that level of trust so that people can know you. So make sure that, you are in the right state, either by scheduling and committing yourself to that and consciously putting yourself in the right frame of mind, or by taking a break a little bit and getting, letting go of the have-tos and first reviving yourself. And it's, it requires wisdom to know the difference here. All right, so this has helped me a lot because I felt very contracted and I felt like I had to push through when it came to my schedule and frequency. And now I balance a little bit between both options. Sometimes I wing it. Sometimes I wait for inspired action. Sometimes I will sit myself down and stick to the plan that I made. All right. So now let's look at the second way in which we build our personal brand and in which we need a level of consistency. And this has to do with how we express ourselves. Now, there's a difference between a business brand and a personal brand. So when it comes to your business and the branding, for example, the logo, the coloring, etc., I would definitely say be very consistent. Use the same color schedule and use the same fonts every time, because it helps people to recognize you, to recognize the brand. That is why we recognize Coca-Cola, for example. That's why we recognize Apple really quickly, or whatever brand it is that you recognize easily. It's because of, visually it's very recognizable. But for a personal brand, there's slightly different rules, if you ask me. Now, I do believe that visually we can create some consistency here, because, for example, you are the representative of your business. So you are the one leading your business and every other activity that you do. So you're basically the one hovering over. All right. So you're the one guiding the business. So if you're the representative, I would definitely recommend that you, for example, wear the colors of your branding, of the business brand. Wear it yourself. And when you're doing a post, when you're doing a photo shoot, when you're meeting clients, when you're doing a presentation, whatever it is, make sure that you wear wear colors in that clothing, or have some kind of style that is recognizable. Now, there's another level of expression. It's not just the visible side. It's also how you express with your voice, for example, or with the energy that you're showing. Because, a lot of people think that personal branding is about that first impression. You can never have or make a first impression twice. It's about that first time that people meet you. And to make sure that people see the human you, all of you, this is all about the energy that you're expressing, that you're radiating. I would say be consistently human. So instead of forcing yourself to always be the confident, solid leader, or to always be that sensual goddess, for example, I would say bring out all the flavors. One of the beautiful things about us as human beings is that we're so versatile. When you're with friends, sometimes you're the funny one. Sometimes maybe you feel a little bit more vulnerable, and sometimes you're a little bit more quiet. And those are all really valid qualities within you. It's great when you have friends who can allow you to be you, even when you're a little bit more silent because you feel more introverted. So why not show all of yourself in your personal brand when you're showing up for your clients too? Why not show them your vulnerability? Why not show them your soft side? Why not show them also your weirdness? Instead of taking yourself so seriously the whole time, have a little bit of fun with it sometimes. Be a little bit weird. Maybe be a little bit ugly, and a little show your imperfection. That way you're consistently human. So reframe consistency in your personal brand, for example, by choosing to wear colors that are very recognizable. But in terms of how you show up, be consistently human. Actually, I recorded a podcast, or I was interviewed on a different podcast a few weeks ago. And we talked about this topic of consistency. And that's when I brought that out there as well. I really value our human side, So instead of forcing ourselves to always show the same flavors, be consistently human. Yeah, show your realness. I hope that this has at least shed some new light on how you can express and how you can show up, and how you can still have some consistency around it, around how you express yourself in your personal branding. And I know that usually your personal brand is very much related to the business that you work for, either your own business or the business that employs you. So, and it's important that there's a level of alignment there, but often these two are linked, and I get it, because often when we think of personal branding, we think of our professional lives. Personally, I believe that our personal brand is how people perceive us. Any kind of people, not just our colleagues or our clients or our audience, but also the people that potentially we want to hang out with. New friends, for example, or new lovers. That's the way that we position ourselves in the love market is just as much a personal brand as it is in any other area of our lives. So I would definitely say, again, in these areas, be consistently human and feel free enough, liberate yourself of the idea that you need to show up in a certain way to please the others. No, own the different parts of yourself. Own the fact that you're a human being with a lot of versatile sides, as well as, for example, your sensuality. And don't be afraid to show that in whatever part of your life. It is a part of your humanness. So your sensuality, even your sexuality, is a very vital part of who you are, and being connected to that and owning that part of yourself in every area is crucial to you feeling whole and feeling happy. And that is something that is so fundamental in serving the world, whether it's serving our audience or whether it's connecting to a new lover. Feeling whole and happy within all of ourselves is important. So that means that the more we include every element of who we are, of our humanness, the more we can authentically connect with others. So I hope that this has helped you a little bit with that part, with the expression part. And then lastly, I'd like to end with, consistency in messaging. Now, I really, really believe that this is very important. I believe that the message is key in our personal brand. And I'm talking about a professional personal brand here. So I know that I made a little bit of a sidestep to, personal branding in your love area, something it's a topic that I'm very, very passionate about. But I'll reserve that. I'll keep that for another episode. But let's go back to our professional life. In our messaging, this is crucial. Any solid brand, any trustworthy brand has a message and makes the brand about more than just the product. So it's important that you have this clear message, that you go back to the drawing table once to actually craft this message. And this is something that I specialize in. So this is why I'm very adamant about, stressing this part of the podcast. Because the message is, this is how we educate people. This is how we inspire people to grow and to develop, because we're not just helping them with a product, something that we sell, but we're inspiring them to be better people. Oh my God, there's so many beautiful opportunities in sharing our message. So how do you do that? How does this relate to consistency? Well, I would definitely say always keep it clear and very clear what you're talking about, so that your message will always be connected to that one topic that you're known for. People want to understand where to put you in their folder, what folder to put you in their archive. It's like they have all these categories, and people want to understand what category to fit you in. I know that this can create a lot of resistance, because you have a lot more in you than just this one bit that you're known for. I know, fucking hell, it frustrates me sometimes that I know that a lot of people, or most people, know me for being a personal branding coach and a copywriter. A lot of people still know me as a copywriter. Not as much anymore, thank God, because that is a label that I wanted to let go of at some point. But a lot of people know me as this personal branding expert. They don't know that I do a lot of personal coaching as well and mindset coaching, and that I'm a priestess, actually. I've been initiated as a priestess last year, which means that I do a lot of spiritual work and connecting the spiritual world with the earthly world. And I love doing that. It's something that I integrate in my workshops, in my courses. I don't really bring that out a lot. And sometimes that frustrates me because I'd love to share more about that. But I also know that it can create a level of confusion. So to prevent people from becoming confused, I always relate everything that I do to the very topic that I want to be known for. And that's what I recommend, that when it comes to consistency, specifically focus on being consistent in your messaging. So even though sometimes, you might deviate from your schedule when it comes to consistency, and you just, take inspired action, and you might be a little bit less visible than usual, and maybe sometimes you show different sides of you, in how you express yourself, then at least in your messaging, be fully consistent. Now, this doesn't mean that you cannot share what's going on in your daily life. On the contrary, I mean, people love seeing the personal stuff. They love reading about what you go through and what's happening to you, and, the things that you struggle with. But I would recommend that you always, relate it back to your topic. This is what I do as well. Everything that I share on social media, I will always connected to personal branding and leadership, always, and messaging. That's something that I always do. And personal branding and messaging and personal leadership is all about expression. So I will always link it back to that one word, expression. That is what you will see in my socials, that I will talk about expressing yourself. So this is how you consistently show up in how you create a personal brand that is known for something very specific, is because you keep sharing the same message. You keep repeating, and you keep linking it all to that one topic that you want to be known for, that one specialty. Even though, yes, of course, you're capable of so much more. And in that case, if you feel that other parts of you want to be expressed, then do that. Please feel free to express yourself in a new way, but link it to that message that you want to be known for. And if that changes at some point, if you feel that you're at a crossroad, if you feel that, the message that I used to have, it doesn't really fit anymore, or the way that I have branded myself or put myself out there, maybe unconsciously branded yourself, because trust me, even though personal branding is often something that people are not very aware of, they haven't really worked on it consciously, then still you'll have a personal brand. People still know you for something. And in the end, it is very much about how people perceive you. It's about how people perceive you, which is why consistency and a healthy view on being consistent is so important, because, you need to feel good with it, but they need to trust you as well. So by doing this consciously, and even if you feel that, your messaging doesn't align with who you are anymore, then go back to the drawing table and really consciously work on your personal brand and on your message, so that after that, you can get out there with the new message and show up in a way that just does justice to you and that serves you and your audience. Yes. That was a whole episode on consistency and showing up in a way that creates trust and that serves all of you. And I hope that it has inspired you in different ways. Now, I can imagine that maybe you are at that place where you feel that the old you and how you positioned yourself doesn't really align anymore, because you feel that, you've never really taken the time to work on this. And it might be time to do that. inviting you to ground yourself, to give yourself that space to actually work on your personal brand with awareness, to make sure it aligns, to take a new look at who you want to be and how you want to show up, so that you can actually create that level of consistency and make more impact. Now, if this is something I can support you with, I'd be more than happy to do that. You can contact me at any time. You can, for example, download my app, and in the last few seconds of this episode, you will hear that in the outro. But feel free to also check my website on beabrandrebel.com and contact me with a form or with the email. Anyhow you want to contact me, it's all fine. There's plenty of options here. So let me know if I can support you. I'm here for you. And let me know if this has resonated with you, if this has helped you in any way to rethink consistency, especially if you feel that it can hold you back sometimes. All right, for now, have a wonderful day, and happy to inspire you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for listening, and I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you're hungry for more, please check out my Brand Rebel app in the App or Play Store. It's very easy. Just type in Brand Rebel and you'll find it. It's free and it's fun. For now, have a magical day. Stay raw, stay real, stay rebelicious.